what I decided was that I'm going to just show up in every space, in every room as myself, as my full, bold self. I am raw and I am deep and I am direct, but I'm also going to be one of your biggest cheerleaders. And I am doing myself and the people in my world a disservice if I'm muting that anywhere.
Welcome back to Amplify with Jess Ekstrom, where we amplify your ideas, your influence, and your income. I'm talking kind of quiet because my baby's sleeping in the next room. And today is our last episode of the season. We're going to be taking a break for the holidays and come back early next year with a new and exciting rebrand. So if you haven't already, text me the word pod to 704-228-9495, and I will text you when we are back. And who better to close out the season than one of our very own speakers who graduated from Mic Drop Academy and is out there with a top 1% podcast and taking on stages all over the world. Today's guest is a speaker, a top podcaster known for encouraging women to make gutsy moves. But her own recent gutsy move was sparked by a conversation she had with an AI bot. LauraAura is our guest, and it all started while she was driving, listening to Taylor Swift's The Man. Inspired and activated, she went home and typed a simple question into ChatGPT. How would my career look different if I were a man? The answer was a stark statistical list, both infuriated and motivated her, revealing the systemic biases that keep women from equal footing. Our guest today, LauraAura, decided not to settle. She took the AI response, listing things like higher pay, access to power rooms, and less self-questioning, and turned each point into a concrete, gutsy action item for her own life and career. So in this episode, we'll break down her 5 bold steps for achieving some starting block access in business, why showing up in your fullest self means being wonky on LinkedIn, and the powerful reasons why you must learn to outsource faster. So let's start at the beginning. In her car, when a Taylor Swift song led to a prompt that changed her whole life trajectory.
You know, I'm driving to the gym. I've got my songs on shuffle. Taylor comes on as she normally does. And this time it was the song The Man. And I've heard it a million times, but there was something about that day where, I don't know, the lyrics just really stood out to me. I was very kind of already activated anyway. And the words stuck out to me. So I went home and I put in chat, like, how would my life look different if I were a man? How would my career look different if I were a man? And it just spewed out this whole list of all of these things. Just, it pissed me off as much as it activated me to do something about it. Like, I was like, I'm not going to settle for this anymore. No more.
Like, what were some of the things that it said that would look different if you were a man?
So one of the very first ones was you will be making more. You would be making more money. And I was like, listen, I mean, we already kind of know that. Yeah. But it gave me stats. Like it was like, you would be making $300,000 to $500,000 or upward. You would be charging way more than $10,000 for your keynotes. You would be seen as an authority, right? Like you would just, like, the money would just be rolling in the way that it could and should be.
You would be the Joe Rogan of Gutsy. Yeah.
Right? Exactly.
Or the Dax Shepard. Yeah.
And, in that moment, I decided, I'm like, okay, what's a gutsy move that I'm going to make? Because I'm like, okay, I don't want this to just irritate me. I want to do something about this. Like, that's the premise of making gutsy moves, is doing the thing that you can't stop thinking about. I could not stop thinking about this. And so break it down for me, though. It was money. What else did it say? Because I actually saw something on LinkedIn recently. This woman put in a picture of her speaking, and said, help me look like a very successful sales speaker, because that's what she speaks on, is sales. And the photo it gave back, she was an Asian woman, and it came back a middle-aged white man. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, even the AI systems know.
Well, I think that's like a whole other conversation, is that, like, AI is crowdsourced information. And so it can be super helpful, but also all of the bias that exists in this world, it now exists, of course, in AI.
Absolutely.
So, okay. So it said you'd be making more money. What, like, other things did it say? How would your life look different if you were a man?
I would have more access to power rooms, Like I would
More
be seen,
access to power rooms. Okay.
like I would be invited to more rooms.
Mhm.
My boldness would be seen as confidence, not as a
Ooh,
risk.
okay.
And I was
Okay.
like, oh man, that one really hits home.
Yeah.
It said that I would outsource faster. So I would ask for more help.
Like delegate.
hmm
Yeah.
And that I would have less self-questioning. I would just
Mm.
go for things more often and not question myself as much.
Now, I find this fascinating because I literally just stitched a video yesterday on TikTok that was like Adam Grant and Brene Brown, I don't know if you saw it, talking about how executive presence and charisma are really just like overrated ways to keep women out of leadership positions, where like you don't have to be this like big, tall, like charismatic person in order to lead a company. And there are, I think, like things that we could benefit from seeing. Like, yeah, I want to question myself less. I want to like do some of those things. And then there are some things that I think historically we've been taught that are more masculine ways of thinking, masculine ways of speaking, masculine ways of leadership that we don't need anymore.
Yeah.
So, and I think to like, just to be clear, one of the things I feel like I always need to reiterate is like, this conversation and what we do at Mic Drop is not anti-men. It's like, how do we get women in the same, like on the same starting block or
Exactly.
in the same room?
Yeah, it's just
So,
about
yeah.
about playing on the same field, you know,
Mhm.
having the same access, having the same connections, like being able to do the same thing without
Yes.
gender coming into the conversation.
It's like, you know, finding out many times, and I'm sure you found this on the speaking front, what the male speaker got paid versus what you got paid. And my gut instinct is to be like mad at the man. But then when I really think about it, I'm not mad at the man. I'm mad at myself, or I'm mad at the system for not asking for what I truly felt like I deserved.
100%.
But it's like, he asked for it. There's no fault in that. So, okay, you got this ChatGPT prompt. You're fuming, but also activated. Then you started going down this rabbit hole of like, how do I change this? So walk me through what that looked like for you.
Yeah, so I just went through each one. I'm like, okay, what do I do with this information, right? I can be upset about it and just stew in it. I can let it continue, or I can do something about it. So I'm like, I'm just going to decide one gutsy move that I'm going to attach to each one of these. Okay. So for the earning more, for instance, I was like, I'm going to pitch full price.
Yeah.
Period. You know, we how many times do we go into a room and we're like, oh, I want to charge this, but then we get nervous, or are they going to pay this, and can they? And a million
Or you
questions
start
pop
negotiating before they even give you an answer.
before they even say anything. Yeah, so I'm like, I'm just going to go in full rate. Like it's really about owning my numbers and owning my worth and my ability. So
yeah,
no more undercharging. Period.
yeah, yes, I love that.
For the access to the power rooms, I decided I'm just going to show up in spaces like I already belong there because I do.
Yes.
And if I'm not invited to the space, I'm going to invite myself. You know, like,
or I would take that a step further and like create the space. There is this, like, I'm not obviously going to say names, but there is this kind of like group of women, who are all fantastic, and they all promote and support each other's programs and courses and things that they've done. And for years, I was just trying to like get invited to, and I see like pictures of them in like Cabo, and like, oh my gosh, like look at this yacht that they're on. Like, I just need to get in that circle. And like was not getting any traction there. And so then I was like, well, I have a lot of women in my network that I think we could do the same thing, like learn from each other, kind of like an unofficial mastermind. Like, we're not paying for it, but we're all kind of charging the same rate. We are all kind of, our businesses are doing similar amounts, but yet we don't have like competing audiences, that we could just learn from each other, but also share resources. And so we created a trip to Arizona that we're doing in January. And so I would even take it a step further of like, instead of like inviting myself to that room, finding ways to create it on my own terms. Because I find that even when I force my way sometimes into a room, I get in my head because I'm like, well, I wasn't invited. Like, or should I be here? I don't know if you ever experienced that.
Oh my gosh, all the time. I think when I'm talking about like inviting myself to a room, I'm 1,000% with you. Not pushing where I don't feel like I belong or like forcing something, but rather like, if there's a group or a company or an event that I want to speak at and I'm not being invited there, how are they going to know I exist if I don't put myself in front of them?
Yes.
So
yes,
I
100%.
presenting myself and asking to be in that room, and 4,000,000,000% create the space yourself. If it doesn't exist, make space, because that's where deep connection happens. And there's something so brilliant about when a woman steps up and does something, she gives other women permission to do the same thing. Not that they needed permission, but sometimes they need to see it modeled. Sometimes they need to see it in action. And that's, I think, what creating a space really does.
And that's what I think, you are one of our shining stars in Mic Drop Academy, which I love.
Oh, thank you.
That's like, of course, in Mic Drop Academy, we teach you, how to scale your speaking. This is more for seasoned speakers like yourself. But I think one of the other big benefits of the club of the academy is seeing someone in the cohort, it's a cohort usually of 30 or so women, seeing someone say, hey, I just got this opportunity. They paid me this amount. I also negotiated this. Because how are we supposed to know what's possible for us if we're not being transparent with other women? But it's really hard to do that online. It's like, hey guys, like, let me tell you what my accounts receivable look like right now, versus being in this space that it's like, all of us are thought leaders. We know that we're going towards this thing. Let me tell you how I got this or why this didn't work out. And you have always been so great in Academy and in that group for starting those conversations and being really transparent about it. So I just want to take a second and thank you for that.
Thank you. Of course. Yeah. Well, and thank you, because you, and definitely the women in my cohort and everyone are in MDA, but you specifically, you showed me what was possible. Like, I think that especially when you're shifting, like I made a really big gutsy move and shifted and left industries and started all over again. Being in your orbit, you showed me what my brain could not yet calculate.
Ooh.
Like what you are charging and what's possible and the kind of organizations that you're working with and just the magnitude of MDA and everything that you do. You modeled to me what was possible. So it gave my brain proof that I can do this too. So hats off to you, my friend, because your ripple effect is immeasurable.
And I won't say the name, but I know you have a very big opportunity coming up on the speaking circuit. And so let's just take like a quick sidebar from this ChatGPT response. Obviously we can give you all the tools and all the resources in Academy, but there are people that like take it and run with it. And then there are people that have analysis paralysis or like are waiting for, something to happen in order to get started. Do you have any tips for people on the speaking front that might be in that analysis paralysis? Like, oh, I just need to wait for my website to be perfect, or I need to wait till I have footage, but how do I get footage if I'm not speaking? Like, you are so good at obviously taking gutsy moves in the speaking sense. What advice can you give someone that might be experiencing a little analysis paralysis there?
I hear that loud and clear. I'm not void of it. It still happens, but you got to get to this point where you're like, but what's the alternative? I'm either going to continue to talk about it. I'm either going to continue to think about it, overthink it, plan it, wait for the right moment, or I'm just going to do one thing. So my advice is, what is one next step that you can take? We want to have the perfectly curated plan. We want to have all the details. We want it all to be like perfect before we do the thing. Friend, the only way you get to the thing is by doing something. And so everything that I've built and what I have right now has all been the result of taking one next move, which creates momentum, which creates more clarity, which puts the right person in front of you. You know what I mean? Like all those details that you're racking your brain trying to figure out comes to fruition when you actually do something. So make the one next move, my friend.
I mean, this is why you're a speaker, because it's like this small, thing. And I think that's like so much of what speaking is not this like revolutionary idea, but just the reminder of like, what's the next right thing that I can do? Not all of it. So I love that. So, okay, we have money, we have getting in the room or creating your own. what were some of the other, let's call them
Healthy spirals.
Happy rabbit holes. Yeah.
The next one was particularly hit home because of my brand around being gutsy, which is boldness would be seen as confidence, not as a risk. And I was like, okay, listen, boldness comes in all shapes and sizes. It doesn't mean you're always flipping the table. It just means you're willing to go for it, right? So what I decided was that I'm going to just show up in every space, in every room as myself.
Yeah.
As my full, bold self. I am raw and I am deep and I am direct, but I'm also going to be one of your biggest cheerleaders. And I'm doing myself and the people in my world a disservice if I'm muting that anywhere. So like, for instance, LinkedIn. Okay. LinkedIn is typically very kind of buttoned up and more professional and more like you're at a networking event, right? And then I was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not my vibe. I mean, I can be professional and bold at the same time. So I just took the lid off. I am very wonky on LinkedIn, and you know what? It works. It works for me and it works for the right people. And I think that that's the most important thing to remember.
I think you saying it works for the right people is exactly what people need to hear, because that means it's also not going to work for everyone, and that's okay. But if you are like, I always think, I'm like, if I am being performative, if I'm like trying to fit into a role, sure, it might gain followers or attract people, but then that's a role I have to keep up to keep them.
Exactly. Yep.
And so I used to like be really afraid of people like unsubscribing or unfollowing me. And now I'm like, oh no, if I am truly showing up as who I am and someone doesn't like it, thank you for like clearing the way, giving me more focus to the people that are helping me. Like I feel like my like TikTok, my LinkedIn, I do a lot of like speaking related content, and Instagram, I've tried to be like really specific of like lifestyle and motivational, but I love sharing speaking related content. And lately I've been doing more of that and been so scared of like, well, what if people don't like it, or what if they unfollow? And it's like, well, then that's okay. Yeah.
And your business is going to continue to grow, and you're going to be happy because you're not maintaining something that someone else expected of you. Like, that's where that overthinking really comes into play, is like, oh, how should I? And what if this? And it's like, let me just be.
Do you have an example of when you maybe showed up kind of either online or in person in your like kind of your vibe instead of conforming to, so like usually people do this, but I did this?
Yeah. So I put a post up on LinkedIn. I don't remember the context of the video, but I put up a post on LinkedIn wearing no makeup and no bra. So I talk a lot about like No Bra Sunday, and there's a whole concept behind that. And it's, typically on LinkedIn, that's like a no.
Right. Yeah.
But it's one of my highest engagement videos because
I love it.
Women were like, that's a real human being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I love to talk about, and I'm very intentional about focusing on the real stuff that we're all thinking and feeling and experiencing, but most people are not saying out loud, or you don't have a space to talk about it. And so sometimes I show up on social media without a bra and without makeup, and we're just having raw conversations. But 9 times out of 10, they're the highest engagement ones because people can relate to it. It's like talking to another human instead of this internet persona.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. It inspires me to do more of that, because it's so easy to fall into like, well, what's working for everyone else, and let me do that.
Yep.
Okay. What else?
Next one was outsource faster. And yeah, that one. Delegation. So I'm just going to be very intentional about always evaluating what's working and what's not, and what can I hand off to someone? Like, what can I get my hands out of? Because just because it's important doesn't mean I have to do it. In fact, I can rely on other people that are much better at things than I am to help me with it. And this one is kind of a twofer, because I think it comes back to the first one about money, and that is charging. So an intentional thing about outsourcing is charging full price, like coming in with my full rate so that I can afford to outsource, so I have the resources to be able to bring people in, which is a ripple effect of its own because it supports other people in their small businesses. You know what I mean? So this one was a twofer for me.
Yeah. And I think, there's so much like women backed in this, because historically women have not outsource. It's like you're taking on everything at home. You're taking on, and now we have to work. And it's like, where is there the permission to alleviate? It's like, well, maybe we're not getting paid enough to outsource at work. There's a ton of culture around mom shaming and guilt to outsource at home.
Yep.
And so this is like really specific as it pertains to women and outsourcing, and something I constantly have to ask myself.
Always. I mean, it's deeply ingrained for centuries. You know what I mean? So it takes a conscious undoing. But I'm a big fan of just pausing in the moment and asking myself, do I need to do this, or can someone else do this better?
Yeah,
and
I love that.
And that it just, I think sometimes it really helps to latch on to the idea too that me asking someone else to help is not a weakness. In fact, it's a power move.
Yeah.
Because it's supporting that person. They're getting to do something that they love. I get some of my time and capacity back. Like that impacts their lives and their families. So we're doing some good stuff here when we let go of all the things.
And I think this is like, I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I also have realized that I can outsource things and spend that time, that free time, in an unproductive way.
Yeah.
Because I always thought, okay, if I'm going to pay for someone to give me more time back at work, then that means I have to do more work with that time. And I'm like, no, or I'm just going to like pick my kids up early from school and go do this, or maybe I'll just bed rot for an hour.
Yes.
Yes. That's done. So you don't have to replace the delegation with even more productivity, which I think is also a thing that women tend to do.
Yes. Louder for those in the back, Jess.
Yeah.
We don't have to.
I like definitely binged Love is Blind while like having, paying for people to do stuff.
Absolutely. They're happy. You're happy. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. Okay, so can you walk us through, it was money, and give us maybe those quick gutsy actions that we can take?
Yeah, there's one more. Do you want that one?
Oh, yeah.
So the last one was less self-questioning.
Oh, yes. I think I tried to block this one out because I felt so attacked by it.
It's personal at this point.
Yeah.
It's like, am I doing enough? And how is this going to be received? And who am I to do this? And, maybe tomorrow and I need more information. I got to read another book. And it's like, hold up. What if I just pull it back and I just look at my track record? So my gutsy move in this was, let me just write down all the things that I've accomplished. So if I'm questioning myself, let me look back at the history book here of Laura.
Yeah.
Let me look at what I've done and accomplished to this point. And I listed things out and I was like, I am not going to question myself again.
Yeah.
Period. I'm not saying I won't have seasons or, I think every time that you level up or you go to try something new, this pops up, which is natural. Yeah. But looking at this list, I'm like, 18 years in business, 11 years speaking, 500 plus episodes of the Gutsy Podcast, thousands of women have made gutsy moves because I showed up. Okay, listen, we're not questioning this anymore. This is my purpose. I can confidently say that I have found my purpose in life. So if you're questioning yourself, write out the great things that you've done, whether there's one thing or 500 things or anything in between. Look at what you've done. You've done way more than you give yourself credit for.
And even if it's on the personal side, raising kids, graduating from college, like your evidence bank is much larger than what it probably feels like in your head. And so I love that tip of like, just take the time to write it out. And I would even say like, and keep it saved somewhere that you can reference when you start feeling a certain way.
Yeah.
I love that.
And add to it, put it in a notes section of your app and add to it as you go. Like give yourself a brag list.
Yes.
You have done these things.
It's so funny. Like with my husband, he's not like an arrogant person or anything by any means, but I watch him move through life without the mental gymnastics of like wondering if he's qualified or good enough or big enough. And then also when I have feelings of self-doubt, it's almost like it's kind of hard for him to understand where I'm coming from. 'Cause he's like, what are you talking about? Like, well, like this person didn't use an exclamation point. They used a period. And he's like, get a grip.
They only said K. They didn't say okay. They only used K. And now I'm spiraling.
Totally. And so it's so funny sometimes to like watch someone who doesn't have that and the amount of energy that they save to like put towards other things. I think for me, like the self-questioning stuff was honestly like just more so an energy drain than anything else for me. I'm like, do I really want to spend this limited amount of energy that I have, like wondering if I should be here?
Yeah.
I don't always do that right, but it's something that I catch myself doing. Okay, so now give us the recap and the gutsy move.
You got it. So the first one is you'd be earning more. So go in, charge your worth, ask for more money, ask for the raise. The second one is having access to more power rooms. So either create the room or put yourself in the room. The third one is boldness would be seen as confidence, not risk. So you're showing up in every space in every room as your fullest self. You're taking up that space, my friend. The fourth is to outsource faster. Look at what are you doing that you don't have to be doing? What can I delegate? What can I hand off to somebody else so that I can focus on the work that I really need to do? And the fifth one is less self-questioning. Write down your track list, my friend. Write down the things that you've done and accomplished, small, big, large, everything in between. Look at the things that you have done and accomplished in your life because that list is way larger than you think that it is.
And even like send it to ChatGPT and say, remind me that I'm a badass bitch.
Heck yes.
Whenever
yes.
Like ChatGPT can tell us what our life would look like if we were a man, but we can also program it to be our cheerleader.
Absolutely.
And if you haven't realized this already by LauraAura's amazing voice and beautiful answers and just like punchy takeaways, you are also a podcaster of like a top podcast. So tell people where they can listen to you, where they can find you, and all of the things.
Yeah, thank you. The Gutsy Podcast. There's over 500 episodes, so there's something for you in there. It's on Apple and Spotify, wherever you listen. If you are bumping up against the same shift, you're tired of overthinking things, you're ready to do the thing, and you just need some encouragement and some practical things on how to do it, the Gutsy Podcast is going to rock your world in the best of ways. And then I'm on TikTok and Instagram the most. My handle is @LauraAura.
Yes. And she's an incredible speaker. So if you're a meeting planner listening to this and need a speaker for your next event, LauraAura is your girl. And just thank you for being such an advocate for what we're doing at Mic Drop and being able to be someone that we could be like, she's one of ours.
Oh,
you're the best, LauraAura.
Thank you.
For being here.
Right back at you, my friend.
Thanks for listening to Amplify. If you're a fan of the show, show us some podcast love by giving us a rating and review. This episode is brought to you by Mic Drop Workshop, where you can learn how to become a better speaker, how to land paid speaking gigs, and become a keynote speaker. This episode was edited and produced by Walk West. I'm Jess Ekstrom, reminding you that you deserve the biggest stage, so let's find out how to get you there. I'll see you again soon.